Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the Elfz Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Happy Thursday to you all. It's the Fanatical Elfz Show. Oh, it's on replay. Oh, no. Stop the music. Stop the music. Good evening, everybody. It is the Fanatical Elfz. I'm John Suchan. Over there is Steve Gill. Down there is Sam
over
the man.
here.
It's over here?
No, the other way.
I'm going that way. I look anyway.
Well, I'm not on that side of you. I'm on the other side.
No, well, on my side, well, the way I'm looking, you're over there.
No, I'm not.
We're all messed
You're the
up.
one screwed up. I know exactly where I am. I'm right here. And Sam is right down there.
Oh, brother. Well, good evening, everybody. We are the Fanatical Elfz Network, and it's been a fun week. If you're a Browns fan, you don't have to wait too long. The weather changes. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Something happened.
Steve did his podcast on Sunday or Monday.
Sunday.
And I think the trade went down, what, was it Tuesday?
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to do a blog because I knew it was June 1st, and I knew everybody was starting to talk about how they were going to trade Myles Garrett, and I was preparing to write how they weren't going to, and then I got a message from my guy early saying, the reports that they talked to all these different teams. He said, no, they hadn't talked to anybody. And then an hour later, about 11 a.m. Central, I checked, and he said, ooh, they've been talking to the Rams, and they're still talking to the Rams.
Okay.
So I quit writing immediately and waited to see what was going to happen. About an hour and a half later, they announced the trade.
Well, I wrote about it myself after the fact. I talked about it on our one show the other night. I don't know, and I'd like to know what your opinions are on all of this for both of you. Just to start with, what I talked about generally was, Myles was here for 9 years. And the way that I described it was there were some ups and there were some downs. There were a lot of great moments, but there were also some interesting moments. And the kid grew up here in Cleveland. He spent his whole career here, and I think I'm disappointed that he's gone, but I'm not devastated personally as a fan. And I wish him luck. I don't wish him that much luck, but yeah, personally, I'm not the biggest. I like Myles Garrett, and I saw some real growth with some of the things that people talked about with his leadership skills and whatever. So anyway, that was my take initially on it.
You questioned if he was a leader, and you hated the fact that he kept getting pulled over for speeding.
And I know I think it speaks to, I spoke of that in the article. I think it speaks to some of the things that he still lacks maturity. I think he's a philosophical, or he likes to come across as this scholarly sort of person. And I think he went through a lot of changes. And I do think that he did learn some things over the years. I don't like the fact that he's still speeding on 270 or 71 after Shedeur Sanders gets caught, his rookie teammate. So I think there's some things there that are just stupid on his part. He's 30 years old. He's going to make some stupid mistakes because he's young and he's naive. So he thinks he's, Flash Gordon, he is vulnerable. He talks about I mentioned that too, Flash Gordon was a vulnerable cartoon character, not like Superman. And that's how he'd like to describe himself. So I'm sure he took a lot of these things, to heart when things happen.
Well, knowing how bad LA traffic is, he's not going to be speeding anywhere.
Well, look, the kid needed some change, and I'm happy for him for that aspect. And I don't hope that the Rams win a Super Bowl because I talked about that too on my podcast.
I do. Well, I know that. Yeah, because in 2027, that second round pick will be a high pick. Because if you look at the history of the Rams,
Yeah.
They go all in, and when their playoff window gets close to closing is when they really push in all their chips, and then they tear it down again and start all over.
Okay.
So,
which honestly should how you do it. I mean, like, your goal in the NFL or frankly any sport is you want to win. Doesn't matter what you should be putting every resource in if you have a chance.
Yeah.
Like the Knicks or the Spurs, right? Looking at that, they have young teams, specifically the Spurs as well. They should be spending every last dollar they have to try and win as many titles. Like, who cares if you suck for the next 10 years? You can be like, oh man, we're so bad. And then you go cry to sleep with your 2 Lombardi trophies. Like, you don't have anything you have to worry about because you get to wake up every morning to a Lombardi trophy in your arms. So yeah, I think this is exactly how you should be playing the NFL. Is you're like, all right, we got 2 more years of prime play. Let's put every dollar we have, trade, spend everything. Let's win one more Super Bowl. That's 2 in the past 5 years. We're happy, right? I think that's how you should do it, to be honest.
Well, and that's yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
Browns fans don't have that kind of patience. So, but hey, it's what the Rams do, and they're
correct.
So, and by the way, it's 83 degrees here in Nashville. Light humidity is going to really build up over the weekend. I want to welcome all the country music fans to Nashville. CMA Fest started today, all 300,000 of you, and
oh my,
don't pass out, but spend your money.
Oh, so that's this weekend, boy.
We're having today.
We're having the Memorial Tournament, the golf tournament up here in Columbus.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So every star is here, and yeah, that's all you hear on sports radio. They've all been at the golf course today.
Well, every local channel's got somebody downtown starting this morning, and yikes, bunch of
Sam
drunk people.
I get so the other, I don't know, just let's talk about the fact that he's traded. Now the Browns got a pretty good a package back with this, and I know some people complained initially that it wasn't enough, but I mean, you get a really good player in Jared Verse, a very good player coming into his 3rd year rookie contract, did some really great things his first 2 seasons. And if any of you want to talk about that, and then you get this 1st round draft pick this year, 2nd round draft pick next year, 3rd round draft pick the following year after that. And like you were saying before with the Browns, if they trade Miles back to an AFC North team within the next 3 or 4 years,
within the next 2 years,
then they can get
that 3rd rounder in 29 automatically becomes a 1st round pick.
Okay.
So that keeps them from even the Browns knew that the Rams playoff window is closing. I mean, Jared Verse was their first round draft pick in 9 years because they kept dealing their 1st round draft pick away to try and make the Super Bowl. And it worked once, like, what was it, 2020?
Yes.
Or 2020 when they won the Super Bowl against Joe Burrow.
The Bengals,
and the Bengals. Yeah, so, they're doing it again. Fine. That 2nd round pick next, or 28 might be a high 2nd round pick. And Andrew Berry knows how to pick in the 2nd round last 2 years. So,
well, and that's the thing. We've been talking about this for weeks on end, and how this team has been shifting to this younger mode. I talked about it on my podcast the other night. I mean, all these players that are 21, 22, 23 years old. Jared Verse is 25. I mean, this is you are creating a new group. When Miles came in 2017 with David Njoku and all these other players that we've talked about in the past, from Baker Mayfield, that was a group, and now they've left, and now we're kind of resetting with an old coach by the name of Todd Monken, who's he doesn't hold anything back. He's a go-getter. He is demanding.
He doesn't mince words, does he?
Hell no.
Sit there and say, well, he really didn't say anything. No, actually, he tells you exactly how he feels.
And he'll say that. Like, when he's questioned by your favorite Mary Kay, yeah. Um, he did talk. Well, I want to. What?
He
Let's.
said
I mean,
consistent,
Jared
like,
Verse. What do you guys think of Jared? Sam, do you know? Have you studied him much since the trade?
Yeah, I've been doing some research. I haven't done anything too much yet, but I should have something out Saturday talking about the trade a little bit more and what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he looks good. I mean, he has a future of potentially a defensive player of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets one. Um, I mean, his ceiling is pretty high. He could be a really, really good player. Like, is he going to be another Miles Garrett? Probably not. But is he going to be good enough to compete for that top 5 defensive end spot? Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he
Go ahead.
does one thing that I always preach. I mean, everybody loves sacks. I love
Yeah.
pressures.
Mm-hmm.
Pressures produce errors on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's top 5 in pressures the last 2
Mm-hmm.
years. He's number 2 in win rate against the run.
Mm-hmm.
He's not
Yes,
like
he's a
Miles.
very good. Yes.
He's not like Miles, and he can drop back in coverage. He's not like Miles. He won't run around the tackle. He will run through the tackle. He is very, very. He said he's violent. I had somebody say, "Yeah, he's violent." It's more like blunt trauma. I mean, that's how physical this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to see something completely different. He's not anything like Miles Garrett. Nobody is. But I think he's a more well-rounded player. And like Sam says, he's young. I mean, 2 years in the league, 2-time Pro Bowler, Defensive Player of the Year. The Browns have the last 2 rookie Defensive Players of the Year on their roster right now. And I love the way he described practice the other day when he did his interview. I said these guys practice like a winning team. They're moving, they're physical, they're fast. That's the other thing. This defense is going to be fast this year, from linebackers to safeties to defensive linemen. They're going to be a lot faster, and it's going to surprise a lot of people with their speed.
I like what he said about practice and the Browns and stuff. The only thing I will say opposite that would be that he's young. He's only played for the Rams. And so I'm trying to understand where he's getting this knowledge of seeing teams who practice. I know the kid's played football his whole life. I get that, and that's probably what he's reflecting on. He doesn't shy away from saying things, and that's going to be something I think it'll be a little different from Miles. I think he's aggressive. He's already, like, some people describe the way that he looked, or at least walking around the building yesterday in the locker room, like he wasn't the most happy. And he even said that he wasn't initially happy about it. He was surprised, I think.
I think he played that perfectly, middle of the road.
Yeah.
He said he was comfortable in Los Angeles. We all are comfortable with what we do in our lives. And when something happens that changes it, we're not very happy about it. But we get used to it and we adapt to it. And he's adapting to it. So that's great. And his sister still lives in Dayton.
Oh,
so
really?
Okay. Yeah, so that's good.
Where did he go to high school? Do we know where he played high school in Dayton?
I have no idea where he went to high school.
Okay.
All I know is
he played at Florida
trade,
State, right? He came from
had a Florida
good
State.
I looked at some of those stats the other night. I mean, it was pretty good. I mean, obviously he was drafted well into the first round by the Rams, like you said. That's an oddity, right, Steve? Like
19th pick.
Yeah, and they don't really draft that much.
Well, they always deal away their first round pick trying to get to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And it's worked once, and they're trying to have it work again.
Yeah. Well, it is a big trade. Now, there are some people talking. I know I write some articles for Dog Pound Daily. We'll get into a couple of these, but one of them that some folks are talking about is that Andrew Berry, that is this trade, along with the Deshaun Watson trade, are these considered? Some people are saying that they're the biggest, probably the top 2 or 3 trades of all time in the NFL. And people were talking about, like, on the defensive side of the ball, has there ever been a bigger trade in the NFL for a defensive player? Can you think of anything?
Not really.
I mean, we had
Yeah, I mean
Parsons, right?
this
The
could be the biggest
Dallas.
defensive trade in NFL history. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, Dallas, right? I mean, you got
Micah Parsons,
Micah
but the Browns did better trading down in last year's draft than the Cowboys did in trading Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, Micah isn't as good as Miles either. Like, I think you're trading away like frankly, yes, he is one of the best defensive linemen we're gonna see in this
Yeah.
era of the NFL. But he
Yeah.
really, unfortunately, he just doesn't fit the future of the Browns. Like, if you want to win a Super Bowl, let's just say 2030, right? Let's just say that's your random number. He's 34, 35.
I
You're
mentioned
aging
that
out.
too. Yeah. Mhm.
Aaron Donald retired earlier than that. You're looking at now, of course, he might return. We'll see about that. But I mean, you're looking at less than prime Miles Garrett. Maybe you do want to capitalize on that. What verse is going to be what 29 in 2030?
He's 25 right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so he'll be basically Miles's age. So you're going to have prime Jared Verse when you're looking at one of your best potential years for the Browns.
Yeah. So there was this. Steve? I mean, can you think of anything else as far as trades? I mean, as far as this could be probably one of the biggest trades. Meaning Andrew Barry.
No, I can't. I can't think of any bigger trades. I mean, this guy is Myles Garrett is definitely a Hall of Famer. He'll probably win another Defensive Player of the Year. So, yeah, this is a big trade. I'm over the Deshaun Watson trade. I don't give a crap about that anymore. Screw it. He's going to be gone next year, so I'm done talking about it.
So there were some stats that came out with all these things that happened after the trade. That now the Browns are up there as far as having now almost a 13% shot at having a top 5 draft pick for next year, and they
can't. Jimmy said he has to win more than he did last year, so he's got to win more than 5 games.
Well, these are the Vegas odds.
That's what Jimmy said in his news conference. And we take that seriously, don't we? Every time Jimmy opens his mouth.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that even after the trade, Vegas never dropped the Browns win total.
Oh, they haven't? Okay.
No, it's still 6.5.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's part of the factor that went into these ratings. They're from the FPI or something that just dropped from the ESPN. They came out with these new ratings, and Cleveland obviously was in the bottom. Like, they were ranked number 30, I think. Pittsburgh was ranked like number 19 or 20. Cincinnati and Ravens were up there. But as far as the chances of the Browns getting the number 1 draft pick they still are up there, like 12, 13%, or at least hitting that top 5. So
there are a lot of the number 1 draft pick. Sanders is gone. They're not going to keep him.
Yeah.
Because that would be the reason that they are picking first.
I got some comments here from Raul. We've had you on before. Thanks for watching. I know you've mentioned, some fans are mentioning this, and I've talked about it too. I mean, Miles was a very good player, but he did not help. He didn't take this team to another level. Obviously, you need all parts of a team to get to the promised land and to a Super Bowl, and he's part of that. So I'm not blaming Miles for not getting the Browns to Super Bowl, but
I'm not either.
Mike Holmgren.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. That's not his fault.
Mike Holmgren used to drive around during training camp in a golf cart with a drink with an umbrella in it. He saw this as a payday. He didn't help any.
No, and but getting back to there's just so many examples like where, Miles had 5 sacks against the New England Patriots in a game earlier this year, and the Browns lost by 19 points or something. So, these things happen. And so it was time. I'm glad the Browns, I'm not glad they made the move, but I think, like what we're all saying, I like all this young talent. I like all these young kids, this Carson Schwarzenegger. I like how he represents this team. Alex Wright was out there talking a little bit about taking over kind of more of a role, a leadership role. Friend of Miles. That's going to take some time to adjust. But you've got all this new talent: Quinton Junkins, All these young wide
Who
receivers we
is
talked about.
looking really good.
Yeah.
Man, he looks good.
Broke his
And
ankle, right?
he tore a ACL and fractured his ankle.
Okay, I knew about the ankle, but I didn't know about the
He had
ACL.
he had two injuries. I
Okay.
can't remember exactly, but it was two injuries. But he looks really good, and it's it's interesting that Monken has already said he's got 4 of his 5 offensive lines set. I find it interesting that an undrafted free agent named Jack Conley has been starting at right guard, but Fano has been starting at left tackle. So
Okay.
that's a good thing. Let's see how he looks next week against the veterans. But
as far as, well, let's talk about the quarterbacks. Let's pause here for a quick commercial. We'll be right back. Hey, thanks for tuning back into our Fanatical Elfz show. It's a Thursday night. We've been talking about the Browns, the draft, or not the draft, the trade of Myles Garrett. We're getting into this conversation about the quarterbacks, the young team that we have in front of us here. Again, shout out to everybody that's watching us right now live on YouTube, Facebook, the X. Thank you for tuning in to us and watching us later or listening to us later. If you don't catch us right now, listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio. Anywhere you listen to your podcast, you can find us, listen to us. And a shout out to Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They shake the hand of the farmer. Amazing coffee. Check out our X page, buy the coffee. And a shout out to Sherry's Licorice. I Sherry, if you're out there listening from Goshen, Ohio, I've been trying to promote your licorice because it's amazing stuff. So I'm going to reach out to you, Sherry, to see if you'd support our programming. Oh, all right.
who doesn't like good licorice?
Right.
Big fan of licorice.
So the quarterback situation. I wanted to talk to you about this because Todd Monken, like you were just mentioning before the break, Todd Monken is, basically has said he's got his offensive line set except for one spot. But when he's talked
I
about
think
the
it's more 2 spots. He's waiting for somebody to take over the center position, then he can move Elton Jenkins to guard. I don't know who it's going to be at center. I'd like to see Parker Brailsford step up. We'll see what
new kid. Yeah,
we'll see what happens. But yeah.
But now he's not willing. Now, initially, he said something a few weeks ago or 2 weeks ago about the Browns quarterback situation and trying to decide. He would try to have a decision by the time training camp or by the first mandatory camp in June, maybe he said. But then recently, like yesterday or the day before,
he's pushed it back again.
He's pushed it back.
It's because neither. Well, he said they had 2 starting caliber quarterbacks right now. Now you could take that as one or 2 ways. You can say, well, we got 2 starting quarterbacks, 2 guys who are great enough to start. Or you can say, ooh, he's putting a little gray area in there because nobody's really stepping up. I think it's the latter.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that on your show the other day when you said that we're having another quarterback competition, which means that we really don't have a number 1 quarterback.
Exactly. That's why you do a quarterback competition, because you don't have one good quarterback.
Yeah. Sam, where do you fall with all this right now with Shedeur and Deshaun, and we're getting a mixed bag of information?
I mean, yeah, quarterback wise, neither of them are probably really doing what they need to be doing in order to be a good quarterback. I don't know what the heck we're looking at. Frankly, I think the Browns are still looking at one of the good. I mean, how many quarterbacks are we looking at in 2027 to draft? There's 4 or 5 that are considered quite good. I mean, if neither of them step up, you could be looking at that kind of thing. And with where the Browns are with their team, now, of course, you've seen Drake May. He went from a 3-14 team to making the Super Bowl. You can't predict. Shedeur might blow up and be just an absolute superstar and take you to 12 wins. But I mean, you have to look at the past as a basis for your future. And looking at the past with Dylan Gabriels and Shedeur, sure, it's only 1 year, and sure, it's behind not a great team, but you still have to think, all right, good draft class coming up next year, really good rookie core
Mm-hmm.
last year, really good potential rookie core this year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have to say, all right, neither of these guys have been great. Let's start diving into what these quarterbacks in the future can do. And
Mm-hmm.
so, unless one of them has a breakout year, which frankly I really don't think they are, like I don't dislike either of them. I think they're both good quarterbacks. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't think they're going to be anywhere near what you need to win a Super Bowl. But like, I think the Browns could follow the Broncos route where you just need a Bo Nix. Like, Bo Nix isn't a superstar quarterback, but he's good
Mm-hmm.
enough. And at some point, that's all you need is someone who is good enough to make
Mm-hmm.
you to that Super Bowl. Because frankly, I think the Broncos should have been in the Super Bowl. I don't think it should have been the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, they would have lost to the Seahawks, but it's a numbers game. At some point,
Mm-hmm.
you have to look at the statistics and look at the performance of your quarterbacks and say, all
Mm-hmm.
right, we got to start playing with the future. We have a really good foundation now. Let's start figuring out who can be the next guy for this team.
I think they're going to give Shador an opportunity. I just don't know if it's going to be in week 1 or not, but they need to do that just to see what they've got.
Well, it ain't going to be Deshaun Watson. I keep telling you that.
Well, here's the thing.
It's
agree
gonna
with Steve.
right
No,
now.
I agree with you. I agree with
Shedeur
you.
Sanders is a plus 150 to start week 1, so he's the favorite. If you're going by the
what is
betting
Deshaun
houses. Deshaun, I don't know, but he is
Okay.
the favorite.
Who Deshaun's the favorite?
No,
Shador is.
Sanders is
Okay.
the favorite.
I've seen contrary to that. That's why I'm bringing it up, because like you and I talked last week, I think everyone has been telling, like, the way everyone's been projecting it from the local media to even the mainstream media, they're trying to say that Deshaun should be the guy. Well, a lot of us, like you and me, and I don't know about Sam, I agree. Like, I'm
don't
all in
see
on
it.
Shador.
I don't see it. Let's get him in pads and let him go in training camp. And I am almost convinced that he'll end up getting hurt or will look like crap. And
You're talking about Deshaun.
Talking about Deshaun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a process of elimination. They deep down, Jimmy Haslam may want him to start so he can justify the trade that he
you've mentioned that, right?
And did. Everybody blames Andrew Berry, but Andrew Berry couldn't do it unless Jimmy Haslam approved it and approved the money and approved the compensation to get him. That's all on Jimmy Haslam. And he
what do you
wants
think
to
about
justify that stupid, idiotic move that he made that's turned out to be stupid. Back then we didn't think it was going to be stupid, but boom, it happened. So it's a process of elimination. Is Gabriel going to be on this team? No. Green is a rookie, but they don't want to lose him, and I don't want him to lose him. The guy's 6'6". He's
a beast. Yeah,
he's
a freak. Yeah,
freak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're going to have somewhere in this quarterback room, Deshaun Watson is going to have to be on the roster, unless he gets hurt, unless he shows up lame at training camp and they put him on a PUP list, or he gets put on IR. Then there's your quarterback room. They'll keep Dylan Gabriel and they'll keep Shedeur Sanders and they'll try and stash Green as your emergency quarterback on the practice squad.
Okay. Yeah. No, I
mean, theoretically they could put Deshaun Watson on the practice squad because nobody's going to take him because they got to take that contract.
Correct. But after June 1st, then he could be gone according to the contract for Deshaun. Next year.
League year, day 2, league year 2027.
Which is,
they'll cut him and his dead cap will be split over 2027 and 2028. And that's it. And the cap goes up 8 to 9% per year. So And like I said earlier, they lead the league in cash spending. That's where they spend their money. It doesn't count against the cap in cash spending. So, and Jimmy will do it again. I mean, hell, he and his wife just gave $130 million to the University of Tennessee this week.
Oh, wow.
So, well, yeah, their dad, always huge supporter. That's how he knows the Mannings, because him and his brother, who used to be governor here in Tennessee, give tons of money to UT.
Okay, so now Todd Monken is supposedly going to be meeting with Shadur's father, Dion, at some point. So that was a topic of discussion. Him coming in, talking to the coach. Todd Monken sounded like he was okay with all that and was welcoming to that.
Why not?
It just sparked some conversation of comparing this to when Stefanski was here, but obviously Shador wasn't the starting quarterback or potentially the starting quarterback this time last year. He was the fourth string quarterback. So what are your guys' thoughts on Dion coming to chat?
I hope Dion's paying.
Right?
Yeah.
For lunch. He can afford it. I mean, after Colorado fires him, he'll get a nice compensation package. I can't see him.
Could he come to Cleveland, though? I mean, that's my thing. Like, if that happens, no.
No.
In a supporting role, like an assistant or something. Okay.
No. Because if they're picking top 5, Shedeur Sanders is bye-bye.
Yes. If they're picking, yeah. Okay.
So,
but that's we've got a long ways off. We don't, right.
But on the positive note, if, like Sam says, Shedeur blows up and plays great, I mean, you look at the comparisons between New England last year. New England last year played the easiest schedule. The Browns are playing the easiest schedule. They had a fantastic draft. The Browns had a fantastic draft. They had 2 rookies starting on their offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Browns will have 2 rookies starting off the line. They spent like over $200 million in free agency. The Browns haven't quite done that this year. They will next year. But they still got quality, very talented rosters. So if Shedeur blows up and they make the playoffs and they win 10, 11 games, which, could happen if everybody stays healthy, then next year's 2 first-round picks are gravy. They can go any direction they want to go.
Oh, well, when you also continuing that conversation about Shedeur blowing up, I mean, the fact is that Shedeur is getting all of these reps, all of this time now in camp that he did not get a year ago. And so all these things with all these things that are happening, I mean, that is all supporting that idea that, Shedeur, he should be getting better. We should see some good improvements. So it shouldn't be totally unexpected. But so I'm anxious to see how much of what's happening now and through July and August are really going to help this kid.
I can't wait to see him next week against the veterans. I know it's still going to be shorts and T-shirts, but still, they're veterans.
Yeah. Well, it's
also, I want to see how Fano does.
Well, people continue to talk about the wide receivers, Casey Concepcion, and his speed, his twitchiness, but he'll drop an occasional pass. I'm like, dude, just give it a break.
He's a weapon.
Oh, totally. And he's not Anthony Schwartz, folks. I know some people want to go back.
He's a freaking weapon.
There.
I love it.
Yeah. Anything else tonight, guys? I know the Browns made some move. They picked somebody up today. Did you see that off the wires? Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was a defensive player, maybe, undrafted free agent that they picked up.
They need another veteran defensive end.
It was something like that.
They were one short when Miles was here.
Yeah.
So I'd love to. Joey Bosa isn't going to come here. I don't even think he wants to play football anymore.
No,
he's talking about how he likes to go fishing. All of a sudden, everybody's talking.
I think I see him as a politician. He's all he gets into all that stuff. He He's kind of a
Hassan
controversial
Riddick
figure.
would be nice. I
Is
mean,
he out there?
I know Andrew
Okay.
Barry has shown some interest in
Oh,
him.
that
There's a
name's,
guy
yeah.
that played here in Nashville for the Titans, Jihad Ward. He's 32, but man, he's good. I wouldn't
Okay.
mind seeing him signed.
So the Browns still could be making a few little moves here now, especially now
Well,
that
they need another defensive end. I have a feeling that cornerback is always going to be a highlight for Andrew Barry, and it wouldn't hurt to get a veteran safety in here. One more veteran safety.
I think the move to me, just on everything we were talking about Miles tonight, I think it's going to open up opportunities for the whole team because you're kind of clearing out some of the old, and you're bringing on all these young guys now. You're bringing in a different philosophy and a different approach probably with Todd Monken. I heard some guys here in Columbus in 97.1 this morning talking about it. And he was an ex-football player, college guy, played in the NFL. I forget his name off the top of my head right now. But what he talked about was Todd Monken, and people are going to give him a little bit of time. But, this is really, I know he was a head coach at Southern Miss, but this will be his first experience as a head coach in the NFL. And there was a debate between him and the other guy who was doing the radio programming about, does Todd Monken have this year to sort of, fit himself into this position? He doesn't, or is he at risk if the Browns somehow, struggle again and they win only 3 or 4 games? Could he be canned in a year? That was the question. Yeah.
I don't think so. If they show some kind of improvement, I mean, the offense was terrible last year. So, they signed defensive end Benton Whitley.
Do you think, Sam,
formerly of the Vikings,
that Todd Monken has this year and more? I mean, he's not susceptible to being canned if the Browns.
I mean, it mostly depends on if there's an improvement out there. If some superstar head coach. Now, I would say probably not, but with how the NFL has been acting recently, where you're seeing Ben Johnsons and you're seeing a lot of these coaches that are coordinators that they're like, all right, hold on. Like the kid from the Jaguars, like if he ends up, now maybe not him specifically, I mean, but like a situation like that, we're like, all right, this guy's kind of brilliant.
Sure.
You've seen like 4 or 5 coaches who were coordinators, like the guy from Dallas who went to Washington. Now he hasn't been the perfect example, but I mean, you're looking at these coordinators who people are like, all right, these are actually really brilliant people. And I wouldn't be surprised if next year has the same thing. So you might see some of these coordinators who are on their last year of their contract where you're like, all right, this guy's like 28. He's extremely smart. We are looking at a young team. Might as well sign a young coach who's more relatable, who we think is a brilliant mind. And that can be a big difference on getting your team further, is how much how young the coaches can sometimes be very important when relating to these young players.
Well, he is older, but it is funny too to hear some players in the NFL right now talk about him, even though he hasn't been a head coach. His relationships and the things that he's done with a number of players and with the Baltimore Ravens and other teams, they've all been very, very, very positive about what Todd Monken is as a person and as a coach. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that right now. I shouldn't say it's a breath of fresh air. I think I respected Kevin Stefanski and his approach. I think it was getting old, but man,
it was getting stale.
Stale, yes,
it was. His shtick was getting stale. I mean, this guy is he is just a breath of fresh air. When anytime he answers a question, I just love it.
Well, to me, it seems for me, it just brings up the annoyance of. And I know there's a lot of people that respect Mary Kay Cabot, and I know that she's been around forever and all this stuff. But her questions are so damn annoying. I mean, other people have annoying questions as well, but it just seems like all the sound bites are her asking these boneheaded questions of Todd Monken, and Todd Monken basically saying, "I've already answered that question, Andrew Berry addressed that question yesterday, so I don't know why you're asking that question again. And he's saying this to her publicly, and it's just fantastic. It's like, so anyway.
Well, when he says that he has no idea who the starting quarterback is going to be right now, he ain't lying. And they probably won't know until a couple into training camp. Let's put it that way. I would hope that the first depth chart is written in pencil, and very erasable. So, because I think that's right now, I don't think he knows, because right now I don't think anybody's really taken, grabbed it and wants to run with it. But once training camp starts,
sure,
I think you'll see somebody grab onto it and take it and run with it, and it'll make his decision a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling, just by the process of elimination, it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. I'm not buying this Deshaun Watson crap, and I won't buy this Deshaun Watson.
Well, he sold what, $170 million worth of jersey sales or something. I
beat out Tom Brady.
Man, so that's pretty good.
If your starter's determined by how much is his jersey sales,
I think
starter.
Yeah.
And also, real quick, everybody is now saying, well, the next shoe to drop will be Denzel Ward. Well, it would have to be a similar type trade.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to get back a cornerback who is talented like Verse is talented at defensive end. And cover corners, really, really good cover corners, do not grow on trees. So I don't see Denzel Ward going anywhere.
James, thanks for coming in and participating. He's talking about the players of the Browns. He also said that Kevin is a schmuck. Go watch his pressers for the Atlanta. He's saying the same things he said in the preseason last season, just putting, well, yeah. So.
Well, they play Atlanta this year. So what week is that?
I mean, Atlanta's probably going to have the same amount of wins as the Browns had last year too. So,
well, based on the projections I'm writing on with the Dog Pound Daily, they came out. Atlanta is like number 28, and I think the Browns are number 30. So, there's not
that either.
Yeah, well,
way too early for that garbage. I never look. 5 teams who made the playoffs this past year won't make the playoffs this year. That is your NFL average. It happens every year. So just think about that. And then
not Browns and Ravens. Steelers and Ravens won't make the playoffs this year. They made them last year.
There you go. There you go. Bold prediction by Sam. I agree with the Steelers.
Baltimore on this ranking, they're ranked number 3 overall. Like
number 3 to lose in the wild card round.
Also, James says Denzel ain't going anywhere. They won't get that back from him.
Yeah, I agree. He's worth more to stay on this team right now.
Yeah.
What I want to see right now, I want to see my priorities for Andrew Berry is get another veteran defensive end in here and give Grant, and in July before training camp, give Grant Delpit his extension. Boom. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah. Is Grant Delpit's going into his final year? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I like the kid.
He'll keep him. I mean, he'll keep him. There's another second round pick.
Yeah.
That Andrew Berry. He likes his second round picks. They seem to work out. JOK was a second round pick too.
What did they say? Oh, he's also saying, did you see that they took our defense out of the top 10? No, I did not see that.
Well, that's a great talking point in the locker room. I still think this can be a top 10 defense. I do. If they
well, like you said, if he comes in, Verse helps with the run more. I mean, that's a win. And
he can drop back in passing situations.
Yeah, he's. His highlight reel is not that different.
I think he broke up 3 passes when he was with the Rams. I mean, that's freaking nature right there, buddy.
Yeah. Well, everybody, Sam, any final thoughts this evening before we let everybody go?
Not really. I mean, crazy day losing Miles, but I can't say I'm too terribly surprised, to be honest. Like, am I surprised? Yeah, but it's like I feel like we've been edging towards losing Miles for like 6 or 8 months now. when he signed that deal, I feel like he signed that deal knowing he's probably not going to live the whole thing out as a Brown.
Mhm.
It sucks, sure. Like, I mean, seeing one of the best defensive ends of probably the next 20 to 40 years leave your team is gonna suck. But I mean, sometimes you gotta play the future game. You gotta say, this team, while this player is incredible, we aren't winning right now. He's not influencing it enough to keep him. Let's get
Yes.
our value. Let's see if we can't make something out of this, and let's see if we can't try and win in 5 years or 6 years or 7 years.
I mean, he
Or
did some
maybe in 2
phenomenal
or
things.
3. You never know.
What now?
Maybe in 2 or 3 years. You never know.
Maybe next year. Who knows? I'd prefer it to be
So
next year.
James
I'd like to
does,
win
yeah, the
eventually.
block, and he thinks that Miles will come back a Cleveland Brown. Could be. I'm not gonna. I mean, the thing is, he has partial ownership with the Cavs. He does have a
Yeah,
connection with
that's
this team
true.
in Cleveland. He could be. I imagine it will still see him come into town once in a blue moon, and yeah, it should be interesting. Steve, any final thoughts here before we let the fine people go?
Not really. Just it's like I said when I first heard about it, I thought they'd trade him next year in
Yeah.
27. I really did think that they'd pull this off next year because they'd have great draft capital and they were going to have a lot more money available. So I thought, well, hell, they can do this in 27, get his replacement in the draft, and also sign a great free agent, and that would take care of everything. But hell, this trade doesn't happen if they don't get Jared Verse back. And Philly turned it down because they wanted to keep their defensive player that the Browns
Yes.
wanted.
Yes.
So, you got to get something back in return, and they got a great one. This kid, I did see the field goal block. I've been watching some video today against the Eagles, throwing Jalen Hurts around like a rag doll. I mean, this kid is physical, blunt force trauma. That's all you got to think of when this guy rushes. Blunt force trauma. So I, like Sam said, it was shocking. Miles been here 9 years, but we all knew it was coming sooner or later.
Yeah. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Fanatical Elfz show, part of the network here, part of Fans First Sports. Everybody have a great night. Go Browns. We'll talk to you next week.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.